Okay, let's talk a little bit about the budget that we recently had thrust on us by Taylor Morrison through their company. What is it? Castle. Apparently, our rates have gone up, and I think most people realize that over the past year and a half, our rates have gone from under $100, and they jumped up initially, spiked to $200, $250 to cover off what they said were embedded costs. They didn't charge us for, and now we're back down to 165. So we've gone from under 100 to 165, and for the first time, we now see some of the details associated with it. I mean, what do you think of that? You've had a look at it. I've had a look at it.
Well, it's very clear what's going on. But I don't think that most people know that we are literally funding parties for the residents. Every year we have a holiday ball. It's very nice. You get all dressed up. There's a band. There's a wonderful menu. I think what's it cost? $75, $80 for a ticket?
We're funding it twice.
We're funding it twice because what we're doing is the club pays for all the food for that party. The club pays for the entertainment. They pay for the staff to work at the party. They pay for all the decorations. And then they sell a ticket for $75 to the residents who want to attend. And that ticket money goes directly into the Taylor Morrison bank account. So we are paying for the party and they are making money off of that. Now, that's illegal because they're not allowed to make a profit. The court already ruled on that. So what they're doing right now, we've had to file a contempt motion to try and stop that from happening. We don't know what's going to happen with that. The other problem is they're charging us depreciation at $500,000 a year.
They initially started out charging us depreciation of $100,000, and then suddenly they went from roughly $100,000 to over $500,000. And how you can reevaluate an asset and take it based on a 20-year period from less than $20 million, which was the original cost, and they're now up around the $27 million that's been quoted in some of the conversations that have been had with the board. All of a sudden, miraculously, everything lines up, which looks very suspicious, for lack of a better word. But right now, they charge us for depreciation. It's the only business I'm aware of in the world where you charge the customers for depreciation. Depreciation is an IRS tool that's used to write off the original cost of the asset. It was never meant to be charged to residents or to the customer base, but for some reason, Taylor Morrison through Castle has made a determination they can charge us for depreciation. I've never seen it before in my life.
And that's part of the contempt motion as well.
And then you've got all these charges associated with major maintenance and capital, but there's no details behind it to tell us what they're intending to do. And then if you take a look at last year's budget versus this year's budget, the head count has gone up significantly, but no one seems to know where the people are. We've got last year from this year, we've got about an additional 6 to 7 people here. And we're actually paying for things that we shouldn't be paying for. And a lot of people don't realize that. When you take a look at where the head count is, what the head count is doing, you start to realize that some of these people have roles with rented facilities, maintaining facilities that are not used by the residents. They're actually revenue generating facilities. We're paying for that. And we need to have a stronger voice than we have. We don't need to be sitting down and actually listening to Taylor Morrison buying into this. The assets are worth $27 million. $27 million, if you're going to pay $27 million, I want a modern facility with walk-in pools, multiple swimming lanes, you name it, we should have it modern. Not $27 million for facilities that no one else will buy. I don't understand it. It's beyond me.
And people keep asking, how do I feel about the amenities? Should we buy them? Should we not? Now, a lot of people don't even know what's included in the amenities. The amenities are basically everything except for the golf course, the grill, and the pro shop. So what we're talking about is everything else in SoliVita, correct? That's what I've been told.
Right, but I think there's some nuances in there around the restaurant, the drugstore, the facility they use to sell. These are all things that you got to figure out where they fit.
Well, yes, but I'm saying when the current board has been in mediation with Taylor Morrison, they were discussing everything except for the golf courses, the pro shop, and the grill. They wanted Hampton Golf, or the Taylor Morrison wanted to keep those items.
I wasn't involved in the mediation,
but that's where we're at. So when the $27 million came in, that's what they were talking about. Because the club budget is so out of whack, and we're all paying for it, that extra $65 a month.
Yep.
I think that we definitely should get this transfer done as soon as possible, because every month that goes by, we're just putting money in their pocket.
Well, you and I have had this discussion before, and we have some differences of opinion. For those of you who think we're joined at the hip or whatever, no, we have differences.
No,
we have strong differences of opinion on that one. But the thing that concerns me, because I worked in a business as vice president and CEO, where I bought hundreds of facilities, some worth a lot more than what we're buying. But I've never seen anybody go into negotiations without a backup plan, or without sitting down and developing a plan that says, I've got leverage in this, and the leverage that you generate in cases like this is you have alternate plans, because you always look at the seller and you say, I'm sorry, you're not the only game in town.
Right.
I've got other games here.
Well, and the other thing you don't do when you're acquiring a business, and I know because we run businesses.
Yep.
First thing you do is say, I want to see your financials, because the financials are what determines the value of any business.
It's one way to determine the value. You're absolutely correct.
Yep. And so that should have been done from the get-go. If we went into mediation, the first thing in mediation we should have done was say, we want to see your financials, let us look them over, and then we'll schedule a new meeting and take it from there.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, some months ago, some time ago, Brenda Taylor sent me what she considered the financials associated with running the club. And when I went through them, I realized they were in error. They were actually undercharging the residents at that point in time about $1 million a year. And I provided all that information back to Brenda, and I know how she dealt with it. But the other thing that has shown up is there is a report that goes back a few years. I think it's called the MAI report, which assesses the value of the amenities. And the amenities have no value to anybody outside of, you read it, outside of SoliVita, except for the residents in SoliVita.
Right.
You can't sell it anywhere. There's nobody going to buy it. It has no market value. And here we have people who've got this myopic view of it, who believe we have to go down this path. I mean, I've never, ever sat in negotiations for either paper mill converting facility or anything else where you've only had a one-trick pony, which is we want to buy it.
Well,
never seen it before.
And what I've thought about is, as far as valuation, the only valuation they're really going to be able to show is, or value, revenue stream, is K&M pharmacy rent and the spa rental. They are taking in money for leases. We don't know how much those leases are, but if we were to base the value on revenue streams, I think those are the only two revenue streams they could claim.
Well, you got the golf course, and
well, we're not talking about the golf course.
I understand.
So that's different.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'd like to talk a minute about the magazine Reflections. Do they charge for the advertisements in that?
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it's another one of these double dippers where they get the revenue from all the advertising that they do within the magazine, and now they're charging residents for the cost associated with it.
Yeah, we paid what is it, $276,000?
It's a fair amount of money
that we pay to put it together and give it out. I mean, and I've been here 8 years. I don't even read my Reflections anymore, honestly.
Really? Oh, I read it every month.
Could a cost-saving way for them to cut down on that would just be to put it up on a
digital?
And
I think we already do digital, because that's how I look at it a lot.
Yeah,
we already are digital.
You're actually touching on a very significant point, which is there are revenue streams here that we really honestly haven't taken a hard look at.
Exactly.
And some of the revenue streams are the advertising. We also have people that come in here and do business within our community, and we get no revenue associated with that. Should we? Well, at least have the conversation, because there's people who say, no, we don't want to do that. I'll be the first one to say, you might be right, but let's have the adult conversation first. Right?
And that even goes back to what I was saying about before about social media. To me, when it comes to anything, any major decision, I have a real problem with 4 or 5 people making a decision for 11,000. We literally have 11,000 residents here now.
Speaking of 4 or 5 people, I read on Nextdoor that there's only a few people that want to overthrow the current HOA board. Now, my question to you is, really not a question to you, but my comment is, how could 2 or 3 people overthrow the HOA board when they actually haven't replaced those people that have resigned? What is your thought on that?
Well, I think it was a big mistake to not replace Marie Seppi right away. I mean, you've only got 4 people.
Marie should have been replaced by Carl Warren. Carl was the next highest vote getter. I'll be the first one to say
Yes,
that.
I think it should have been Carl.
This overthrow stuff, if you want to believe that, that's 8th grade, political stuff. I mean, come on. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, we should have immediately have appointed Carl. Carl was the next vote getter in line that ran.
Right.
And we should have just went down the line and offered it, especially when you're going through a spectrum contract, you're going through a landscaping contract. You want the more people, the better, helping you go through this. So in my opinion, I would like to see us eventually increase to a 7-person board. I think that should be the goal. But I also think they should be voted on, not appointed.
I agree. That I agree with. Any change you make, it needs to be appointed. But I mean, we need to take a business-like view of things, which is, we have a budget, and if you're running the business within that budget and you're spending money where it's allocated, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, that's the job of the board and the job of the manager. But when you suddenly jump out and say, I want to pay $27 million, or you want to make a contract change that's going to add another $2 million to the cost, I think what we need is a hell of a lot more transparency than what we're currently seeing.
Well, and we also need more minds on it. So I think that we should have formulated a committee specifically geared towards the transfer of the amenities for people to look at all these different issues, people that have owned businesses, hospitality businesses, and they could actually look at the numbers and say, well, these are the revenue streams, because those are going to have a big effect too on us.
Yep.
How much we're going to have to, pay per month. Because if we have revenue streams that are going to offset our monthly assessments, that is important.
I mean,
and people need to know about it.
We have that surprise right in front of us right now with what a lot of people call the road work. When we turned over the HOA, turned over the assets to the HOA 2 years ago, no one talked about road work. Okay. Now, one thing I'll make clear right now is the amenities getting turned over. We better have a hard look at the electrical systems, mechanical systems, and structural systems associated with the amenities, because I use them on a daily basis, and I can honestly tell you there's rust up there. The electrical systems do not meet current code. The boiler systems do not meet current code, and we better have some educated people in there who are either professional engineers or have enough experience to tell us what the current condition is and what we need to do to bring it back to a condition that we can use it for the next 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the reasons why I ran for the board, because I have a lot of that construction background. If we need to build something, I've been a GC, I've been a general contractor for both commercial and residential work. So that's what we're going to need on our committees.
I have some of the experience, but what I will say is I know where to go get the people.
Exactly.
And I learned that a long time ago. I have a limited experience. I don't have all the knowledge that's needed, but I do know where to reach out and get those people.